Yeah, talk to him, but he overall is doing pretty good. Yeah, he's up and down. He's better than the last time, I have to say myself.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
There you go. So, both appointed until the first Monday, July 2023. Okay. You're appointed. So we can, let's go. You just sign here and
We're going to set try at the end.
Oh, you are? Yes. Will you be able to use it when we're ready? You can have an overflow going.
We're due tomorrow, and then we have our first BCC meeting.
So
That's
at the end,
like
we
you're
pledge.
celebrating your birthday.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And because it was the meeting, I just to make you aware, we have our two newest member of the BCC here this evening. Would you like to come up and just introduce yourself to the mayor and board?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Brian Herbig. I am originally from Bayville, but recently moved away and have since come back. I have gone to school for environmental science. We're both actually really good friends with Jenna Predator, who is on the committee, and so she introduced us, and we thought we would hop on board. So.
Good news.
Yes.
I met you in the parking lot last week.
Yes, sir. Yeah. The late night doing homework though.
That's true, yeah. And I'm Sophie. I never moved away. So, yep, born and bred and still here, and also went to school for environmental science, and also friends with Jenna. And so she said there were openings, and told us both we needed to be involved, and yeah, super excited. So, yeah.
As a liaison, and when I saw when she sent the information, I was impressed. And thank you guys for your volunteering. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to.
My parents are both, raised me here, and they are obsessed with Bayville, basically. My dad's very environmentally conscious, and so, yeah.
Thank you both.
Just
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
bringing the youth into it, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming. Thank you again.
How are you?
My phone.
Yes, I have it.
She read it. You talked to me earlier. I know. I have no idea. What?
All right, Mayor, may I begin the
Yes,
agenda?
please.
So the first item on the agenda are the warrants and claims, which have been audited and are presented for your approval.
I make a motion?
Thank you, trustee Delsecki.
Second?
Thank you, trustee Bartolomeo. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Nitro?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Delsecki?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Good evening. So we'll let you get started. So,
Is that enough? Yeah. No? Yeah. The radio.
okay, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the prior meeting minutes from the April 24th, 2023 meeting.
I move that we accept the prior meeting.
Thank you, trustee Nitro.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Santora. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santora?
Yes.
Trustee Nitro?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Delsecki?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy?
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is a change order from Rye Grove Inc. Rye Grove Inc. had been previously approved to do the work at the Bayville Library, a beam that needed to be replaced. And when he started the work, he found that there was a problem in the basement or lack of basement, right?
The plans that he was given showed that there was no basement underneath that section of the library, when in fact there was.
Okay, so he had to do additional work, so there's a change order before you for $2,500 for White Road Inc.
Need a motion?
Thank you, Trustee Bartolomeo.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Walsh. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
The next item is the new hire seasonal laborer. This is to hire Jack Maloney as a seasonal laborer at an hourly rate of $15, and he will be in DPW, and he will be used particularly for the watering of all our lovely flowers here in the village.
All right. Make a motion to accept this hire.
Thank you, Trustee Valsecchi.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Santoro. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution to adjust the hourly wages of the seasonal lifeguards. You were given a sheet, and I will pull out my copy of it. Oh, it's here. I will read them as listed. These adjustments are being made to bring hourly rates up to the prevailing wage for seasonal lifeguards, and this was recommended by David Rupp, head lifeguard.
What was the previous one?
They actually either were hired at $15 if they were new, which was minimum wage, or they were at $15.50 because they were second year returning. So he made the recommendation to adjust the salaries of the list. And I'll read the names and the hourly rates. We have Charles Pickman, $17.50 per hour. Peyton Tinney, $17.50 per hour. Samuel Tinney, $17.50 per hour. Philip Terrell, $17.50 per hour. Connor Terrell, $17.50 per hour. Emma Carosa, $17.50 per hour. Carly Positek, $17.50 per hour. Catherine Nabbitt, Charlotte Sharon, Lauren Klein, Ainsley Johnson, these are all the newest of the lifeguards, $17 per hour.
I make a motion?
Thank you, Trustee Bartolomeo.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Nigro. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro? Yes. Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
We have a proposal before you from Advanced Electrical Resources to make interior switching modifications and install electrical wiring for 2 independent ductless HVAC systems at the community center. The total cost is $3,695, and Advanced Electrical Resources was the lowest. This proposal was the lowest of the proposals we received.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Trustee Santoro.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Di Natale. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
Some more work at the community center, this being the trimming of trees, again, addressing Bayville Avenue. And the low proposal, or the lowest proposal was from CSHL Inc. For $2,800.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Trustee Santoro.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Di Bartolomeo. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution which is prepared by the village attorney. I will read the resolution, and then if you so desire, you can move second, and I will hold board.
Where's the village?
Whereas it has been determined that regulations are necessary to preserve the health, safety, and welfare of certain residents who occupy multiple residences in the village of Bayville, and whereas pursuant to Municipal Residence Law and 19 New York Code of Rules and Regulations, NYCRR, Part 1203, section 1203.2, the village is responsible for enforcement of the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, Uniform Code, and the Fire Code of the State of New York, FCNYS. And whereas the village has jurisdiction pursuant to NYCRR section 1203.3G to include in its code enforcement program provisions requiring operating permits for conducting any process or activity or for operating any type of building, structure, facilities, processes, or activities in buildings whose use or occupancy classification may pose a substantial potential hazard to public safety and other processes or activities for operating any type of building, structure, or facility at the discretion of the authority of the jurisdiction. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Bayville that the owner of any multiple dwelling located in the Village of Bayville, as defined by Section 4, Subdivision 33 of the Multiple Residence Law, shall be required to obtain an annual operating permit to maintain a multiple dwelling in the village subject to the following requirements. 1. A multiple dwelling statement of registry shall be filed with the building department listing the owner and location of the multiple dwelling and other additional information as required in the form of which is annexed hereto as Exhibit A and made a part hereof. 2. The multiple dwelling statement of registry shall be filed annually with a payment of inspection fee of $225 for buildings having up to 5 dwelling units and a fee of $375 for buildings with over 5 dwelling units. 3. The owner shall allow a safety inspection annually of the multiple dwelling by the building department before an operating permit certificate may be issued to the owner. 4. Upon finding no violations of the Uniform Code and the FCNYS, the building department shall issue a 1-year operating permit certificate to the owner of the multiple dwelling in the form which is annexed hereto as Exhibit B and made a part hereof. This is a resolution as prepared by the village attorney.
I'll make a resolution to approve. Can I just ask you a question? There's nothing in here that says what happens if they don't do it.
They don't get their permit. If they don't do it,
And
then
there's no punishment for not having the permit.
if they don't get it, it's because they had other building code violations that they'd be issued a violation for.
He said, what if they just don't come, if they just ignore it?
Just ignore this.
We're gonna mail it out to them, then they would be in violation if they don't allow us to do that.
But there's no provision for that violation in here.
This is, we're following the New York State Code by doing this program.
I understand, I'm not opposed to the program.
What's their,
What's the
penalty
downside? They
if
ignore it.
if they ignore it?
And they have to be found out, and then they have to be, is there no provision for citing them if they sign up?
Well, they're not signing up for it. They don't have the option to not do it. They would get a building code violation for operating the building illegally.
And then they have to come to court,
Exactly.
just like any
So
other
it's
building code
it's a
violation.
code violation.
Correct.
The failure to do it. Okay.
I would say it would fall under building permits
Yes.
and be subject to the fines associated with not having the proper
Right,
building
and if
permit.
they go to sell the property, it would come up on kind of as a violation, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Just like a building.
Will we need to have the modified permit language to include this program? At some point, maybe we could ask the village attorney if that's something we should consider. Adding this permit to the list of things, which would specifically to permits that need to be obtained by building owners. And if we're not getting that permit is a violation of that section. So talk to the village attorney. Okay?
I have a motion put forth by trustee Vitale. Do I have a second on that?
I second.
Thank you, trustee Santoro. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Vitale?
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Dossetti?
Yes.
Mayor Nicosi?
Yes.
We have another new hire. This is a full-time new hire of Alvaro Trejo Maravilla. He will be a sanitation laborer. He is at the annual starting salary of $31,987.68, effective April 25th, 23 as per the collective bargaining agreement in accordance with Nassau County Civil Service Commission rules and regulations.
Make a motion?
Thank you, Trustee.
I'll second it.
Ruby, actually, I apologize, and you pointed out May 25th should be the correct date for the hire. Thank you. Okay, so, Trustee Bartolomeo, that's okay?
Yeah, I make a motion.
And
I'll second it.
Thank you, Trustee Natale. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro? Yes. Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Minicos?
Yes.
The next item is a proposal from H2M for the annual audit and spill prevention reporting. This is to be in compliance with New York State DEC chemical bulk storage and storage regulations. This is an annual audit of the village's 3 sodium hydroxide caustic soda facilities, which are located in plants 1-1, Porter Tower, 1-3 in Godfrey, and 2-1 at West Harbor. It's a lump sum fee of $2,800.
Make a motion?
Thank you, Trustee Santoro.
Second?
Thank you, Trustee Bartolomeo. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro? Yes. Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Belzetti?
Yes.
Mayor Minicos?
Yes.
I have no other business to put before you. Mayor and Ward, I will turn the meeting over to you, Mayor.
Thank you. So we have some people here tonight. Is anybody that would like to speak before us?
Good evening, Todd Kaiser, from Ellison Street. I'm here to see what the town is going to do about the destruction and blocking of Shore Road by the resident of 7 Wanzer Street. That road has been on tax maps since at least 1903, and there's a prescriptive easement on there. It's an open use by others for a continuous period of more than 10 years. He has dug out the road, he has continuously blocked it, moved rocks, put a boat on a trailer across the road. And this is also in direct violation of court order from the Supreme Court of the State of New York, Nassau County, dated the 21st of September, 2017. And I have a copy of that.
Thank you.
And if I may refer to that, ordered that the plaintiff's motion for summary judgment is granted. It is further ordered, adjudged, and decreed. This is on page 3 of that document, that the real property identified as section 29, block 28, lot 37, and lot 15 in Nassau County Assessment Land and Tax Map, commonly known as 80 Washington Avenue, Bayville, New York, the plaintiff's property, have a valid and enforceable aperture easement, a right-of-way for egress and ingress for pedestrians and or vehicles, access over portions of Shore Road that traverse the properties identified as section 29, block 28, lots 225 and 234 of the Nassau County Department Assessment Land and Tax Map, commonly known as 7 Wanzer Street, Bayville, New York. Then it goes on to say that the Mayor Walter Cotton and their respective heirs, who were owners of that property at the time, are hereby enjoined from impairing or obstructing pedestrian and or vehicle access over the portion of Shore Road that traverses the real properties, commonly known as 7 Wanzer Street in Bayville. So, you know, it's a dangerous thing that he's doing. He's dug out the road, he's denied people access that people have used for generations, and the town has done nothing except tell them to put up no trespassing signs.
So unfortunately, the village attorney is not here tonight, who has been working on this, but it is his own property. Okay? That particular lot, the Baywalter lot, extends out far past
All those
to the water.
All those lots.
So that not all of them, very few of them, but that one does. And he did not close the road, it washed away, not that I'm defending him, and he had told us well over a year ago, if the village wanted to fix it, to be his guest, but the village is not gonna maintain or repair a private road. And, you know, as far as the village attorney says, we don't really have any jurisdiction to tell him to fix it or not, it's on his own property.
It's not only the fixing of the road, but he's been continually blocking it, moving stone.
But it's his property though.
But it has a easement, a public easement, and it's been on the tax map for over 100 years, and, you know, has been used by generations. And how can he just all of a sudden close that road, and he's destroyed it, he dug it out.
If I may, it's still not, I understand what you're saying, and if there's an easement to the benefit of the neighboring properties, they do have a right to use it. However, the village does not have jurisdiction over that. That would be, the court would have jurisdiction over that, not the village court, the Supreme Court.
So I would have to go to the Supreme Court to get them to enforce this order
Yes.
for them to grant pedestrian and vehicle access to that road.
It's a private land dispute, and we don't have jurisdiction over that, correct?
Correct, that's exactly what the village attorney had said. And again, I don't think that the property owner has any problem with the road being there if someone else wants to pay to put it there. It washed away, and I don't know if you're familiar with the story, the Amazon truck got stuck and had to get towed out. You know, the road was washed away in one of the storms. And he has no desire to pay to put it back. And he's not opposed to putting it back, but he's not going to pay for it.
But the act of blocking the road and putting stones, I mean, I have photos that he has placed, you know, a barrier.
The road was gone before he put the stones there. When the Amazon truck got stuck there, it was a whole big to-do over it. That's when he started putting the stones there. The road was already gone. So it was, for people to get through, they would have had to drove on his lawn, which is why he put the rocks there to begin with.
He moved the rocks over from his property, the edge of the road, further and further out into the road. And has put logs, he has a trailer with a rowboat on it sticking halfway out across the road. So he has acted, it wasn't just a thing of the road is washed out and I don't have, you know, I'm not going to maintain it, because this order says they are not responsible for maintenance of the road. It is an act of blocking the road to be, you know, for pedestrian access or bicycle or whatever, you know, until it is repaired for vehicle access. So the town has no power to enforce violations of, you know, blocking a public easement on a road.
I'm sort of neutral on this, but I do walk that area. I mean, I can walk through, I get through. So I realize that you'd like to see it as it was, and I'm not going to discuss how or why. I can only tell you, I walk through that on a regular basis. I get by. You couldn't begin to get a vehicle by, or a Jeep, or any four-wheel vehicle. You could walk a bike through it. You can walk through it. So what you're saying is you can't walk. You can walk.
No, he's pushing everybody off of the road down to the beach. And, you know, the road has been there and has been had public access for 100 years. And, you know, that's, you know,
most of the road's been washed away in storms.
just a portion near the northern side of it, near the edge of his property. And, you know, that can be repaired with a couple of dump trucks of sand and gravel to bring it back to its existing condition. I just wanted it back to the existing condition that has been for 100 years, and allow safe egress for people and, you know, if necessary, emergency equipment.
You know, the mayor has brought it to the attention of the fire company, and they claim it's not a hindrance to them responding to any emergency in the area. So, you know, we've been down that road with that in mind, and if the fire company said it's got to be repaired, maybe the village would go to state court, but that's a question for the village attorney, who unfortunately is not here tonight. But the fire department doesn't have a problem with it.
Well, they can access it from Wandsworth Street
Yeah.
and the properties and stuff.
And the homeowner also said, too. He had told me when I first went to visit him, before I was even mayor, Bob was the mayor, that he needed a DEC permit to dump stone and sand back there, which is probably adequate, and he has no desire to go through all that.
It says on page 4, the plaintiff's heirs, successors, and assigns shall have no duty to maintain the portions of Shore Road that traverse the parcels of 7 Wandsworth and
Yeah,
70 Shore.
to maintain it, but
They're not required.
he has no right to block access on that
until it's his
road.
property.
It has a prescriptive easement through that, and has been decreed in a Supreme Court judgment that he has to grant access to pedestrians and vehicles across that road. He can't shove it down onto the beach. It is for that road that is on the tax maps.
If you feel you're one of those individuals for whom the easement would apply,
Mhm.
and you have the right to enforce that easement, then you have the right to go to court to do that. But the village doesn't have the right to do that.
Okay, I guess I have to take it to Supreme Court, Nassau County Court. If the village will do it. I mean,
Not the village won't. The
We
village
can't, we don't have
Yeah.
privilege, we
you
can't,
don't have the jurisdiction
Yeah,
to
we
do it.
can't. right, we don't have privilege, we can't enforce it.
I don't think so.
No.
The
Also,
village
you-
attorney has clearly stated that we cannot enforce it. It's a private road. Unless the fire department came to us and said that they could not access, we have no grounds to make it repair it.
But, I mean, it doesn't make sense, the road is in, Nassau County judgment that specifically orders to keep access open. Why can't the village, enforce the judgment?
But it's not like he just went and closed it. The
Yes,
road
he had,
Is
he
it-
has
is it possible
physically
that
put
he-
a boat across that road.
But after it washed away and the Amazon delivery truck got stuck, that's when we started putting the rocks there. I mean, the road was gone already.
Is it possible that he's doing that because it's a safety hazard? Because if somebody went to go over that road and got injured because it's not in good condition, then he would be liable?
Well, it's not only vehicles, it's pedestrians. He has totally blocked off the road at times, and I mean, rocks across the entire road that forces people onto the beach to go around. I mean, that, it's one thing not to maintain it and, to permit the vehicles to be able to go through there. But it's another thing when he's putting rocks and trailers and branches and puts up no trespassing signs when it is a prescriptive easement and a court-ordered easement to that road.
I know we put up the no trespassing signs, not to stop people from walking across, but to protect themselves if somebody was to get hurt. Maybe he told us he was going to do that.
Yeah. He told me, you told him to do that.
Well, because he had asked, I said, about people, what if somebody gets hurt? I said, put up a no trespassing sign. Again, he never once said that the road couldn't be there. All he told me was that he's not paying for it.
Yeah, but that's, saying that the road, and then physically blocking it and pushing it out with, with stones and stuff, that is not, just, agreeing to let it, be in the state, whatever I'm trying to say, I know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
The question is, who has the right to enforce this order and to maintain the easement? It's not the village of Bayville. I've been away for 40 years on that, it's not the village.
I mean, is it not dissimilar if all the roads in Bayville are private? They're not
There are
public roads.
7 at the village of.
Yes. If I sat there and I started putting stones across the road and blocked that access and,
If you block access to a fire engine, we go send the DPW to remove the rocks. So it would have to interfere with public safety.
or you're gonna have
And we went
jurisdiction.
to the fire department, and as Bob said, we asked them, and
You
They
know,
said they just come in from the other side.
You know, Tom, I think the trustees should revisit that area. Let them take a look. We're talking about something that they're not totally familiar with. But, you know, as I've said, I mean, I'm not a kid any longer. I walk through there without a problem on a regular basis.
Yeah, but it's not the fact that you can get through it, it's the fact that he has pushed everybody out onto the beach and off of that road, which is what the court order prescribed as, you know, requiring access.
Maybe we'll revisit his boundary of, well, he owns all the way down to,
Yeah, and he owns it, there's an easement through there, so, you know, once he owns it.
No, it doesn't have.
we may ask him to perhaps make a footpath more accessible. And then, in good faith, I think he would do that. So he's not going to rehabilitate the road for vehicles. And I wouldn't do it. I don't think you would do it. It's got, you know,
Well, it's not just vehicle, you can't even ride a bicycle through there. I mean, you know, because it slopes down high tide, it's underwater. So it's not just vehicles, you know, it has caused inaccessibility for bicycles. And walkers even, you know, because it's washed out at the end here.
I don't want to go, you take a look.
Yeah, take a look. I'll come up.
I mean, it's just, it's
Summertime.
frustrating that somebody would be that greedy. They bought the land, they knew there was an easement there, they, you know, this court order was in their deed files.
I think the trustees are in agreement that we like revisit it and take a
I
look.
really much appreciate it, because I don't want the same thing to happen that happened with the Marchands, and the road get finally blocked off totally, you know, as it did before. You know, in this case, the neighbors went to court and they won. And I can't understand why it can't be enforced at some, you know, or at least.
It can be enforced, but we're not the right people to enforce it. It's the court that has to enforce it.
Do you have an association?
I have the Ellison Street Association, but that's not effective. So it's more my right of easement through there as a pedestrian, you know, resident of Bayville. Yeah,
We'll take a look.
We'll take a look.
I appreciate
Talk
it,
to
because,
them
you
about
know,
it.
it's just, like I said, it's just very frustrating that, you know, something that's been there for over 100 years, you know, they destroy it, block it, and, you know, ruin people's enjoyment of the shore.
You want to tell us how wonderful the art council is?
Wonderful, and my congrats to Phil Pecorino for really making that come alive. And I appreciate everything that the board has done to help us.
We know, and we know you've been a significant supporter of Phil.
I'll do anything for a good party. No, it has been an honor to help Phil out, and much appreciate your work. So, no, you can keep that.
Don't you plan to come back next month? Unfortunately, the village attorney
Yeah.
Evans found you, and we'll visit this site between now and then.
Excellent, I really appreciate that.
I don't think we'll get shot at, you know?
You might come out and yell at you, but, you know.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You know, there's an intimidating dog near the Marshall property that I walk by. I've got one of those little squirts that are in ground.
The golden retriever or the black lab that's.
I think he's a golden retriever.
Yeah, well, that's Tori, he's got a fence,
That's it.
an electric fence. Now, mine looks scary. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Anybody else that would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Maria Cote. I'm here to represent my parents, Samantha and Janetta Katanka. They are the owners of the Rouse Pizza Building. The Rouse Pizza Building. So if I look familiar, I served you pizza at some point. The last 30, 40 years. So we have an ongoing situation with what we call the stands over there with the parking. Right now there's a 90-minute parking because people tend to park and then go to the beach and not pay for the beach. But the issue is we have tenants above the pizza place and they need a place to park. Spocky also has tenants, but they have a large parking lot in the back. So their tenants are able to park in the back, but Ralph's Pizza doesn't have that. So we have the issue of tenants who are residents of Bayville need a place to park, and the businesses don't want their parking spaces to be occupied for their customers. So we would like to propose a compromise where we would change, if we could change the sign for 90 minutes except 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning. So when these tenants come home from work, they could park at night safely in front of their building and then remove their car at 8 in the morning when they then go out to work again. At 10 p.m., all the businesses are closed and the beach is closed, so it's not affecting anybody. And it just seems like a nice compromise where the tenants have a place to park, but they don't affect the beach parking and the businesses at the stands also.
I did speak to one of your tenants who works at Ralph's.
Yes, George.
George,
So
who,
nice.
right, always delivers pizza. So he
Yes.
was telling me like a week ago that he got a ticket for parking, that he works at Ralph's and he lives upstairs, and he got a ticket.
Yes,
Or I think he told
So
me.
the
Five.
county's giving it to
No,
us?
the village, and it was 5 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning. And I felt so bad, he's hardworking, he has 2
He's so
kids.
nice.
He is a true gentleman. So we just wanna, offer a fair compromise, because they do need a place to park. And they are
But you
residents.
do
of
have a
town.
lot behind your building.
It's very small, you're welcome to come see
I went
it.
and looked at it
And
today.
so the employees are the ones that park behind there.
But if the business is closed, then at 10 o'clock, then.
True, but it will only fit about 3 cars, and
No,
there's,
come on, I was just down there, but you thought I could fit 10 cars in there. You were putting new cesspools in today, you had dump trucks and equipment in there.
did you see where the dumpster is?
I showed them.
There, 10 cars can't fit. You're more than welcome to go back there again. 10 cars cannot fit.
Just got another road trip.
Yeah, unless a car is back to back and blocking each other, I guess it could fit. But 10 cars where they're free to back out on their own could not possibly fit. I often had to walk to go to work because I knew my car wouldn't fit back there.
So what's the tenant gonna do if he comes home from work at 5 o'clock?
That's a great question. My father asked them all to purchase beach stickers. So during the day, if they do come home from work, or if they're sick from work, or they have a day off from work, they could park in the beach parking lot. We're trying to meet everyone halfway.
How many tenants are we talking about?
There's 4 apartments plus the insurance company there, so at least 5. If everyone has a car, husband and wife, then we're up to 10.
Yeah.
Plus the employees in the beach place.
But the 90-minute is not something that's new.
No, but no one's ever complained before. That's why I've never been here
Well, the
before.
problem was it got out of control, but it wasn't just your building. Even though Salaki has a lot, they were all parking in front of there too. It was more convenient for everybody to park in front. So that's why we enforced it for a very short period of time. But, the chances of them getting an overnight ticket are pretty slim at this point. And you can see that we obviously marked all the spaces for no beach parking. And that was at the request of your tenant. He was the main one that went to News 12 and, he's the reason why we did that.
Yes, which is a shame because he hurt his own employee. I couldn't begin to explain his behavior because his own employee who's so dedicated and works so hard ends up getting a fine. And I'm sure $50, $100 to George is a lot of money. So I don't know what that is about, and that's a shame. But I'm not here to complain. I'm here to offer a compromise, a solution, right? So we could all work together in our wonderful town. So I'm just trying to put something out there. There's a trust factor because, will somebody come back 5 in the morning and give tickets to these people? I don't know. I'd rather it just be in writing so they could park at night and they're safe. The beach parking lot closes. So of course they have to move their cars and it will be in front of the building where it's lit. So, because a couple of families have kids, so everyone's safe, and again, it doesn't affect anybody. And during the day, they park in the beach parking lot, and they've paid for the sticker.
Under the sign that's there.
Can you allocate just
What if they have also, like a parking pass or something, they put a sticker or just something to put in their window?
That's been done before, a couple of years ago. I don't know if it was under you, Mr. DiNatale, but there was something like that where they put it in front of their car and they said resident or tenant, something like
And you have
that.
like your license plate number on it.
So someone could park a tenant car.
Yes, and they wouldn't give a ticket.
Probably a simple
I think that was
solution,
your
yeah.
idea. I don't know when it stopped or why it stopped, but that was also something that was done in the past.
Yeah, because we can put, I just got, something in the town of Oyster Bay, down in Center Island, I just got some racks installed, and I have to show, I got a parking pass for my car, so I don't have to buy a beach sticker, but it puts my license plate on it, and so I'm the only one who can use it. But instead of having to put a sticker on my car or something, or on my boat, I can just stick it on my car window. So.
Is that something that we did that Nikki?
But actually, that's what we're making.
They don't remember, right? They don't remember,
I
yes.
don't remember, yeah, no. It's not
Well, it seems like a better
And
solution.
I think it's a much better
It has to be
solution.
part of-
How many apartments or how many cars are we talking about?
Yeah, how many park there today at night?
Yeah, I can only give an estimate. I would say 10, because again, there's 4 tenants. And so if a husband and wife both have a car,
Do
maybe
any
8.
park in the back at all? Or no?
I think because he has families issues, no. There's a lot of tension and people don't want to get into arguments with him and it's just not worth it to find, to get into confrontation.
And who's that with?
I'm
Since
sorry?
when was that?
Yeah, right,
Railroad routes.
Okay, what about behind Slovaki? How
They have
much
a
room is
lot.
back
they
there?
have a large parking lot in there.
And,
Oh, that's their property.
well, no, I know, but I mean, have you asked them if the tenants could
Share? There's no sharing. It would be
I'm
nice,
just
but
asking. I mean, there's a lot of property back
they
there.
have a lot of apartments.
Right,
Many more than 4.
I think if the tenants came to the village with their lease and their car registration, and they get a
I think that
car.
would be the best.
That's the best side.
That's very reasonable. We're looking for a compromise, and that's a compromise.
A
So that
placard to put in
Rather than
the-
changing the law of parking,
Yeah.
rather than changing the, I think that's a.
Some-
Because then
there's
it's,
some-
then it also
It
controls
would have
it.
to expire every couple of months and we have to come back again.
well, their lease is a year. Can it be good for a year?
Or 6 months is 6 months.
I mean, every month is kind of.
No, not every.
Okay.
But I think that's better than the sign, because with the sign, anybody can come and park there at night.
I understand, yes.
Controlled only
And
those.
we'll talk about it and come up with a solution in quick order for you.
Okay, and will you contact me or my dad?
We'll contact you.
Amy, you
I'll
are-
contact you. I got you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Have a nice evening.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Nothing.
That's it for tonight.
All right, then I ask for a motion to close the meeting at 7:13 PM.
I move we close the meeting.
Thank you,
I
trustee.
second.
Mayor. Thank you, trustee Mayor, trustee Walsh,
Yes.
trustee Santoro,
Yes.
trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
trustee DiNatale,
Yes.
trustee Romeo,
Yes.
trustee Rozaki,
Yes.
Mayor Michael.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.